You've seen this one. Usually it's white script lettering over a photograph, fog on a mountain, a steaming mug on a windowsill, maybe a woman with her eyes closed, hands open. Be still and know that I am God. And the message underneath it is always the same. Slow down, breathe, take a quiet moment. But that verse was never written for a quiet morning. It was shouted over a battlefield. It comes at the end of a psalm about the earth collapsing into the sea, mountains falling, nations in uproar, and God burning chariots with fire. It's a war psalm, and the sentence right after "Be still," the half-nobody prince, is not gentle at all. It's a declaration of dominance over the entire earth. So either this is the strangest change of mood in the entire Bible, or "be still" doesn't mean what we've been told it means. It doesn't, and once you see the Hebrew word, you cannot go back to the coffee mug version. But first, you need to hear where this verse is standing, because it's not standing in a quiet room. Psalm 46. Read it from the top. God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Therefore, we will not fear though the earth gives way, though the mountains be moved into the heart of the sea, though its waters roar and foam, though the mountains tremble at its swelling. That's verses 1 through 3. The earth giving way, mountains falling into the ocean, water roaring. This is not describing a hard week. It's describing the world coming apart. Then verse 6. The nations rage, the kingdoms totter. He utters his voice, the earth melts. And verse 9. And this is the line that sets up everything. He makes wars cease to the end of the earth. He breaks the bow and shatters the spear. He burns the chariots with fire. Bows, spears, chariots, burning. That's the sentence immediately before "be still." Not a sunrise, not a quiet morning, a battlefield with the weapons on fire. Now, the word. The Hebrew behind "be still" is Raphah, and it has almost nothing to do with silence. Raphah means to let go. It's the word for a rope you've been pulling with everything you have, and then you release it. It's used for hands dropping to your sides. And in a battle, when hands drop, there's only one thing that means: drop your weapons. Translators have rendered it "cease striving," "stop fighting," "stand down." Charles Spurgeon put it more bluntly. He read this verse as God saying to the warring nations, "Hold off your hands." So the verse is not a whisper to a tired soul in a comfortable chair. It's a command shouted over a battlefield. Stop fighting and know that I am God. And that changes what this verse asks of you, because be quiet is something you do when things are already calm. It's an activity for good days. Let go is something you do when your hands are full and clenched. It's for the days when you are gripping so hard your knuckles hurt. This verse was never for your best mornings. It was written for the worst ones. Quick note before we keep going. If you've ever read a verse your whole life and wondered what's underneath the English, that's every video on this channel. One verse, one word, what it actually says. Subscribing means you won't miss the next one. Alright, take a second with that first one, because it changes the whole sentence. If "be still" actually means drop it, then the next word changes everything about what happens after you do. And no isn't what you think either. Be still and know that I am God. The Hebrew word is yada. And yada is not information. It's the deepest word for knowing in the Hebrew language, the word for knowing a person, not a fact. It's used when God says to Jeremiah, Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. It's used for the intimacy between a husband and wife. It's relational, experiential knowing by encounter. Which means the verse is not saying, stop moving so you can think correct thoughts about God. It's saying, let go of your grip, and in that letting go, meet Him. And notice the order. It's not know that I am God, and then you'll be able to let go. It's the reverse. Release first, the knowing comes after. That's uncomfortable, because it's backwards from how we operate. We want the proof, then we'll loosen our hands. We want to see how it works out, then we'll stop white-knuckling it. The verse says, the hands open first. Now, the half of the verse that never makes it onto the wall art. Here's the full sentence. Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. Read that second half again. Does that sound like a gentle invitation to relax? It's a declaration of sovereignty over nations, over the whole earth, spoken by someone who has just been described burning military equipment. And here's what happens when you cut it off. You turn a statement about God's authority over history into a self-help slogan about personal calm. The reason you can let go is in that second half. You're not being asked to relax because everything is fine. You're being told to drop your weapons because the outcome does not depend on you. It depends on the one who will be exalted among the nations, whether or not you keep fighting. That's a far stronger comfort than take a breath. Take a breath gets you about 4 minutes. The outcome does not rest on your grip. That's something you can actually build a life on. And one more structural detail most readers miss. For 9 verses, the psalm is about God. Third person. God is our refuge. He makes wars cease. He breaks the bow. And then verse 10 arrives, and the speaker changes. Be still and know that I am God. That's not the psalmist anymore. God interrupts his own psalm. The most quoted line in the chapter is the one line the psalmist didn't write. So who is God talking to here? Read the context, and the most natural answer is the nations, the ones raging in verse 6, the ones whose bows he just broke in verse 9. It's addressed to the combatants. Stop. But the psalm was collected, preserved, and sung by God's own people, which means they heard it as spoken to them too. And here's where it gets uncomfortable. It's easy to look at an ancient battlefield and see the weapons. It's much harder to see the ones we're carrying right now. Because there's a specific kind of fighting this verse is aimed at. Not the fighting you do against enemies, the fighting you do to hold your own life together. The endless mental rehearsal of a conversation that hasn't happened yet, the refreshing of a page that won't change, the plan and the backup plan and the backup to the backup, the lying awake running scenarios because some part of you believes that if you can just think hard enough, you can control the outcome. That's the grip Raphah is talking about. And notice, nobody would call that fighting. We call it being responsible, being prepared, staying on top of things. But your body knows the difference. That's why your shoulders are up around your ears. That's why your jaw hurts. So here's the question I'd leave you with, and I'd genuinely sit with it for a second before you scroll on. What are you still holding the rope on? What's the thing you're gripping so tightly that you've stopped being able to tell the difference between trusting God and just managing the situation yourself with a prayer attached? The verse doesn't ask you to feel peaceful about it. It doesn't ask you to have it resolved. It asks you to let your hands drop. And it promises that in the dropping, not before it, you'll meet Him. One more thing before you go. In one word, what's the thing you've been gripping? Just one word in the comments. You'd be surprised how many people are holding the same thing you are. And if someone in your life is clearly white-knuckling something right now, send them this. Sometimes what a person needs isn't advice, it's permission to put it down. So the next time you see it, the fog, the mountain, the coffee cup, the white script lettering, remember where the sentence is actually standing. The mountains are going into the sea, the nations are raging, the chariots are burning, and a voice cuts through all of it and says, "Drop it, and know that I am God."